Welcome! It's a great day to be a miner. In today's video, we have an exciting new graphics card to review. We have the RTX 3070ti Gigabyte Eagle Edition. We're going to unbox it, we're going to hook it up, we're going to test it out, we're going to give you all the nerdy numbers. Without further ado, let's spin that intro. Pew! Welcome! Today we have an exciting new item to unbox, test out, review, and of course we're going to get some mining hash rates and profitability. Today we have the RTX 3070ti Gigabyte Eagle Edition. This is the non-OC. Let's go over some of the specs first and then the features. Alright, specs. This is the RTX 3070ti and it is built off of the GA104 processor 8nm die. It comes with 8 gigabytes of the GDDR6X memory and runs off a 256-bit bus. It has 6,144 shader cores packed into this thing, and it runs off of a core clock base of 1575 megahertz and a boost clock of 1770 megahertz. The measurements on this exact card are 283mm by 115mm by 50mm thick. The TDP for this card is 290 watts, and a suggested power supply of 600 watts has been suggested by the manufacturer. This thing runs off of dual 8-pin PCIe power connectors. Features. This thing features the WindForce 3X cooling solution. It has a blow-through design metal backplate that is quite nice. It highlights the RGB Fusion logo. The I/O panel is non-standard on this. That means instead of the standard 3 DisplayPort 1 HDMI setup, this actually utilizes a 2 HDMI and 2 DisplayPort setup. The MSRP on this card is $600, and that is actually one of the few MSRP cards offered for the 3070ti lineup. So I actually did get this card at MSRP. If you have problems picking up any of the cards from Best Buy, make sure to reference my video up in the description, and that should help you pick one of these up at MSRP. That's enough gabbing. Let's go ahead and tear into this thing. Let's unbox it. Let's see what's under the hood, and then of course we're going to strap it into our test bench and we're going to get this thing hashing, and then we're going to put it through the rounds and we're going to talk profitability. Let's roll. Oh, it's time. You know what time it is. RGB knife engaged. Aw, Gigabyte, you're gonna do me dirty. There's no tape to cut open on this guy. I'm sorry, bud. I'll set you aside just in case we need you for later. Alright, let's open this here box. You always want to be careful on your tabs because they tend to catch, and then you rip your cardboard. It messes up your pretty box, and then how are you supposed to display it nicely behind you on your wall or on your shelving? Alright, let's see what's in the box.
Oh, what's in the box?
Alright, here we go. There's our box, plain black with the Gigabyte etched in it. Let's open the box here and see what's inside. Graphics card quick guide, setup and installation, nice little foam covering, and definitely a nice new GPU inside. Very well packed, and it appears to be nothing else in the box at all. So there's our box and there's our card. Let's take a look-see. They put a tamper sticker on the Gigabyte cards, and I always like to pull that off nice and slow so it doesn't leave the residue. Just personal preference. Nice and slow. It still left a little bit. Alright, let's take a look. That new GPU smell. How's that look? It has a nice metal backplate, finished backplate. It's got the Eagle logo right here. It says Gigabyte GeForce RTX. It has the blow-through design. The I/O panel, it does come with the protective shield on the PCIe X16 slot, and it comes with protective caps across your entire I/O shield. Again, this I/O panel is non-standard. It does have dual HDMI and dual DisplayPort rather than the 3 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI as in most of the newer lines of graphics cards. So then let's take a look at our front. There is our 3 WindForce. Hold on, let me give it a little. Oh yeah, that's new. An experienced unboxer can tell when a graphics card's new when you. Yeah, that's a new card. All right, so then what do we have? We have the shroud is made out of a plastic, as is most of the Gigabyte cards. They are not a metal shroud, but it does seem to have plenty of ventilation across the sides. You can see the copper heat pipes down in through the side. And of course the blow-through design right here, you can see a little bit of hole there. It runs on our dual weight pen. Oh man, we have a little bit of plastic. We got to do the satisfy and peel. This is the RGB part right up here, this logo. This Eagle logo right here will illuminate, and I believe you can control it. Let's get the nice peel. Oh, that's set. Oh yeah, right like that. Oh yes, now that was satisfying. All right, so there's our card in all its glory. Dual weight pen, metal backplate, blow through design, WindForce 3X, non-standard I/O panel. Let's get a good look at this thing, and then we're going to put it on our test bench and we're going to get it testing. All right, so here we are over in our remote session. We have our drivers installed. We are using 466.77. Make sure you don't have the 477.11 driver. They specifically list that on NBminer as not compatible with the LHR reduction. So then what else did we do? We went ahead and installed some utilities. We have our GPU Z, and then of course we have hardware info 64. Very crucial if you want to see things like hotspot and memory junction temperature, which is important when you are overclocking higher tier cards. And you can see those right here. There's our GPU temperature, GPU memory junction temperature, and hotspot temperature. These are important readings because even though your GPU temperature might say 60, your memory might be launching up over 100, and then if you start getting too high on your memory, that is when you start thermal throttling. So next, what did we do? We went ahead and got the newest NBminer, the 39 version. We have a Phoenix version, and we also have a brand new version of Trex installed. For all of the miners, we're going to use stock testing, then we're going to use overclocked testing, then we are going to use, for NBminer, LHR testing to try to get as many mega hash on ETH as we can, and then of course we're going to do the other main algorithms like Raven and Ergo and Conflux, and we'll see if there's any other ones topping the charts at this time that we may want to test. So there is our setup. We have it all installed, we have it in the test bench, we have it ready to roar. Let's go ahead and start with our testing. First, we're going to do all ETH testing. We're going to do stock testing on the 3 miners listed. Then we will try to dial in an overclock with Trex, and also do the absolute core clock reduction with Trex, and then we will jump over to NBminer and use the same overclocks and stocks, and then we will do the LHR and then Phoenix with just overclocks, because I think the overclocks are what we care about there, just as a baseline, and then we'll jump into the rest. Let's go ahead and get this cranked up. First, we are going to do, I already set up my bat file. So we'll do ETH on Trex and fire it up. And then we'll keep an eye on our temperatures. Alright, so there we are. We are stock on Trex. 38 mega hash. Wow. 692C. 205 watts. Let's go set a custom fan curve. Yikes. Enable user edited. Let's do this. And then alright, next let's do a stock on Phoenix Miner. Sometimes on Phoenix Miner, when you spool it up for the first time, it'll actually give you the full hash rate that it should be at before the LHR kicks in. Let's see if it does that. That would be pretty cool to see. 69.552 mega hash. See right there, that's before it drops down. 69.5252, and that's on stock. So I'm gonna note that down too. 69.522, and there it starts to careen down where we would expect it to go down to. And it's still dropping. I expect it to be down around the 40, just like Trex. Alright, stock for Phoenix, 38.195, 38.2, and it is running off of, according to the software, 209 watts. Next, let's fire up stock on NBminer. Alright, so we're going to redo the stock settings for NBminer because I didn't read the fine print on NBminer's new version. The LHR will default to 68% on its own if you don't put anything in the bat file. So I went back to the bat file and I put -LHR space -1 -1, and that's how you can turn it off to start the file. And let's see here, edit. So right here, LHR -1, that means off for your specific cards, or card in this case. And that's more what I expected, 38.21 mega hash, and that puts it right on line at the other two miners. One was at 38.26, one was at 38.191, and the power of 203 is right on line with the 204 and 209. So now we got the stock at least set the way it should be. And next we'll do the stock NBminer, but with LHR of 68, which is the default, but we're actually going to leave it in there rather than just letting it default, and we're going to run it with the LHR. And right here, LHR mode in the green, it says using LHR mode 68, and that's where we have it set. Alright, so here is our NBminer stock settings with the 68% hash rate implied. So 46.79 running on 258. So that actually that 258 is a bit of a lie because it's going 258 and then it's bouncing clear up to around 274 at times. So 257, 271, 274. So it's probably somewhere more in the 265 watt average, and the hash rate at 46 sounds about right. So there's our stock settings on the NBminer with the LHR. Alright, we got the LHR dialed in on the NBminer. We're using 69% on the LHR. If I go up to 70, it will careen off a cliff and drop clear down to like 32. And so we got it up to about 54, 53.56, between 53 to 54 mega hash on 187. This is my most efficient settings for NBminer. Alright, it seems like we finally got it dialed in for the most efficient settings on Trex now. We are running around 44.6 mega hash, between 44.6 and 44.7 on 141 watts. My settings are 49% power, minus 502 core clock, 1500 on the memory, and my temperatures down here are holding steady at around 58 degrees for the card, 96 for the junction temperature, and the hotspot's only at 70. So temperatures are well within the normal variance. Alright, so here is my Phoenix Miner max settings, and of course that's with LHR 45.24 mega hash and on a eye gouging 228 watts. That's a lot of power and pretty poor efficiency. And then for the most efficient settings, I had it down to 42.2 on 142 watts. Alright, I wanted to quickly look at these ergo numbers that look really promising on this card. I've got it at 174 mega hash, only running 141 watts. That is pretty efficient. Temperatures are really good, 58 C and hotspot 69, and the memory junction at 90. So here are my settings on that: minus 502 core, 1500 mem, and 49% power. This is a really solid card for Ergo. All right, the testing's finally in. It's all finally done. We did the 5 main coins that are the most profitable as of today. We did FIRO, we did Raven, we did Ethereum, Conflux, and Ergo. Those are the 5 main ones we did. For Ethereum, we used 3 different miners, and then of course we thoroughly tested NBminer's new 39 version with the LHR, and that is what it's currently running in the background here, and it is running quite well at around 53 mega hash, but it is using a lot of juice at 187. So let's actually look at the nerdy numbers, and then we're going to talk about profitability and return on investment. So here is our full hash rate spreadsheet. We'll zoom in on this, and it does look a little busy because there is a lot of data crammed onto this one sheet. This entire top section here is Ethereum. However, Ethereum tested on Trex, NBminer, and Phoenix miner. And then each one we did stock, we did a max setting, and then we just listed our most efficient setting that we found. We did a lot more numbers, but the ones we listed on this spreadsheet are only our most efficient settings for the specific card and for the specific algorithm. So on Trex, what we came out with was our most efficient was 44.65 mega hash on Ethereum, 141 watts, and then of course our settings are on here. And then our max was 44.88, so not far off of the max because of the low hash rate limiter. Now we'll jump down to Phoenix miner. Phoenix miner was 38 mega hash stock, 45 on max, and a 42.2 on most efficient. Now the important one, the NBminer stock, 38.22. Then we turned on the limited hash rate up to 68%, and it actually was 46.12, but as you can see, the wattage skyrocketed from 203 to 265. Then what we did was we found a max without the LHR, with it turned off, 45.48, max with it turned on, 54.45. So nearly about 9 mega hash increase. Then for the most efficient with and without LHR, most efficient without LHR is pretty efficient, 44.75 and at 141 watts. But then the most efficient with LHR, 53.5, 188 watts, 28. So it takes a little bit of a hit of efficiency to crank it up there, but you are getting almost 54 mega hash. And I did end up changing the LHR from 68% up to 69%. Whenever I would try to go above 69%, if I tried 70, it would careen the hash rate clear down to like 30 mega hash. So there is a limitation on that, and some can only do 68, I hear, some can do 69, and if you try 70, you're probably just going to have your hash rate drop to the floor. Now, quickly, let's go over Raven. Raven actually turned out to be quite lucrative on this card. We did 35 stock, 40 mega hash with the maximum, and 37.8 mega hash on the most efficient, but that is running 232 watts. Raven uses a lot of juice. You're going to use a lot of power, and that means it's going to cause a lot of heat, and that's just a side effect of the... So then Ergo actually again did pretty darn well on stock, 151 mega hash. Then we moved it up to find the most, we found the max hash rate at 185. And then we actually tuned it for a most efficient, and this efficiency actually is really good on this card. 174 mega hash on Ergo for 142 watts. That's pretty solid. Next, we just went ahead and tied it in with Conflux and on Octopus, and then we did FIRO on MTP. And if you want to see those numbers, they are right here. We did 67 mega hash is my most efficient on Octopus for Conflux, and then 4.3 is my most efficient for FIRO at a high 203 watts. So what does all this translate? That's the important part. Let's put all these numbers that we just came up with, let's put them in what to mine. Let's calculate it out, and let's see what this actually will earn us per day at this current point in time. because obviously the market's rapidly changing. So let's see what it is right this moment. All right, so here we are over in what to mine, and I've taken my most efficient numbers, not my max numbers or my stock numbers, my most efficient numbers, what I would realistically be hashing these cards at, and plugged them into what to mine. I put in my Ethereum, 188 watts, 53.58 mega hash, Octopus, Kapow, which is your Raven, 37.83, 232 watts, MTP 4.3 at 203 watts, Autolykos, which is your Ergo, 174 mega hash on 142 watts, and then I did the calculate. So I did this just a couple hours ago, so obviously it could have changed a little bit since then, but here were the profitability numbers as of 2 hours ago, and it's showing a very nice profit on Raven, which actually has sunk a little, as you can see. It was showing that before electricity, $5.92 per day on this 3070 Ti. After electricity, $5.31. Kapow on nice hash is the same thing. It's Raven, but you're hashing through nice hash. Then you have Ergo is doing 477 before power, 440 after, and then nice hash for Ergo. Then FIRO at 433, 380. Ethereum is only doing $4.22 a day before electricity, so that's $3.72. That's a big difference from the 592 and 531 off of Ravencoin, and then Conflux, and this is with the 69% of the hash rate unlocked, and it's still the 4th on the list of 5 that we tested. So that's just something to think about whenever you're buying one of these LHR cards, is that you probably aren't wanting to use them mainly on Ethereum, at least not at this time. So then let's take that profitability per day, the 592. Let's take the 592 and let's plug that in to get an ROI. So right here, I put the 592 that we earn per day in there. I take my total cost. This is what I actually paid for this GPU. And then I divide it by earn per day. And the ROI before electricity would be 107 days. That is not too shabby at all in today's climate and today's market. You cannot blame that. So let's try the 531 and just see what it would be. So if we earned 531, which is our after electricity cost, so it actually boosts us up to 120 days. But if everything stayed the same, 4 months to pay off a 3070 Ti if you were just mining Raven. That's pretty solid ROI. So there's our nerdy numbers. One last thing, let's go over some important notes that I have went into during this whole process. For LHR, for NBminer version 39, it specifically states on their Bitcoin Talk thread that you should not use version 471.11 drivers or you will have an issue. I'm personally using 466.77. Next, LHR mode is only available at NBminer at this time. I actually went out and I checked to see if any of the other ones have released their version yet, because I'm sure Trex Miner will be soon, and I'm hoping Trex Miner will be soon because I prefer Trex Miner. Next, 68% is the highest suggested by NBminer, but 69% will work for your LHR unlock. 70% you're probably going to careen down to a bare minimum on your hash rate. Next, NBminer defaults to 68%. So if you don't actually change your bat file and you just run it and you don't put any LHR command in there, if that is an LHR card in your system and it detects it, it will automatically apply 68%. This kind of tripped me up at the beginning when I was doing testing, and I was like, that is going way too high. Why is it doing it that high? So that's the reason why. 68% is your default. If you want to turn it off, you put dash LHR dash 1, and that puts the LHR off. So LHR mode is off and it will hash at the normal limited hash rate. Next, and then this is kind of important, with LHR you need to go a little bit less aggressive on your memory OC. I was running 1500 to 1600 memory OC to get my other hash rates in both Trex and NBminer without the LHR turned on. When I turned on the LHR, then it would not handle, it would crash the hash rate down if I was at 1500. Then I moved it clear down to 1400, then I got it up to 1450, and it worked just fine. As soon as I would go above 1450, it would crash back down. So lastly, I kind of came up with a dirty math equation here, and I was thinking, okay, 54 mega hash, 54.45 is 68% of your full hash rate. So if we divide it by 0.72, that gives us a hash rate of 75.6 mega hash. So in theory, the full hash rate for the 3070 Ti could be 75 mega hash. Again, that's dirty math, and it's wishful thinking, but I have a feeling that's pretty accurate or pretty close. Next, LHR bypass will pull a lot of extra power to get that card up to that hash rate. And lastly, 69% of the LHR worked, but if you go to 70%, it would fire up and it would show the hash rate and it would slowly push it down and drop it off of a cliff. Next, this card was very good on Ergo Autolykos. It was also very good on Raven, very productive, very efficient. Lastly, the memory junction temp will throttle NVIDIA cards at 110C. That's the memory junction temp, not what the card reads, but the memory junction temp. On the newest Trex, it actually will show your card temperature, your GPU temperature, as well as the memory junction temperature side by side, which is really nice because you don't actually have to do anything to display that, and it is important because that's usually where your throttling comes from. And of course, finally, Raven over 80% will hit your thermal throttle. Even in my open test bench with the fans on a custom fan curve, it will hit it. When I was doing 82%, I was getting the hash rate would go up and then it would start to pull down just enough to keep that memory temp down around 104, 106, and then it would get up to 110 and then it would come right back down. So that is a real thing. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's jump into our outro. Well, there you have it, the RTX 3070ti Gigabyte Eagle Edition with an MSRP of just over $600. This card is a great mining value even with the LHR imposed. If you're new to mining or you have any difficulties, make sure to join the Misfit Mining Discord. There's plenty of seasoned vets in there willing to help you out. And if you like this video, you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe for future content. Thanks for coming along and enjoy the ride.